going from tech and working back-end IT coding all the way to sales. And what was the most difficult part of that transition for you?
I did coding for probably few months, so it's
Mhm.
not that I spent a lot of years doing that. So yeah, the transition was not big, but the transition within the sales domain, so those transitions were a lot of cultural difference. And then transitioning from sales to business, because business is not only sales, you basically are running a business. So that was a bigger transition than a coding to a sales. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Ambition Circuit. Today, I am here with my guest, Mr. Venkatesh Sankaran, and today we will be discussing college, cash, and the climb with him. For right now, I'm going to hand it over to you, Mr. Sankaran, to give us a brief overview of your career history, your life journey, and any other info you would like to share with our audience.
Thank you, Vedanti. I'm so happy to be here, and especially I'm more happier to talk to you. I've always appreciated you. I have seen you from your middle school days, and amazing energy, and your helpfulness is amazing. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So my journey and what I've done, right? So it's a span of 30 years. So 94 July is when I started working. So it's exactly 31 years now,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
all been in the tech industry. All been in the tech industry, and I did my engineering in electronics in Bombay, which is Mumbai right now in India.
Yeah.
And I got into sales after trying out a little bit of coding, which I was good at, but then I got into sales. I was told that has more potential,
Mhm.
which is at a young age, you kind of listen to people and you try to explore different avenues. So
Yeah.
that's how I was. So I tried sales and I loved it. I loved interacting with people. I loved the aspect of traveling outside the office and not being in front of my boss, and meeting many people, many successful people,
Awesome.
many really nice people, of course, some rude people that you see on the way. So I started
Mhm.
as a very door to door B2B sales engineer, as it used to be called, primarily selling softwares and some of the hardware, including pagers, cell phones, telecom devices, and all of those aspects. And
Mhm.
I joined some large companies, and in the span of 7 to 8 years that I worked in India, I ended my career in India by working in IBM Global Services,
Nice.
again, going through all the consulting aspect, your hardware, software, basically turnkey solutions to my customers. And then I came to the US in 2001, right after 9/11, to New York. So I came in at a time when the market wasn't good. I came on a sales H1 visa, which is again not very common to come in. So somebody trusted me, my employer trusted me that I could do well. Came here and been in sales from 2001 till 2016. I worked.
Okay.
So I would say I worked for 22 years in corporate jobs till I felt I should. I mean, I've been thinking about starting up my own for a while, but
Mhm.
family and other situations
All
doesn't
those
allow
things.
you
Yes.
to,
Yes.
and the visa situations and green card and things like that. So once things got settled in August of 2016, I founded Saguna Consulting, the tech
Okay.
solutions and product development company in Irvine, in California. And then within few months, I started another product company called HugenX, which is a life sciences SaaS product for cancer diagnostics market. And
Okay.
while doing both of them, I got into investing into some of the companies, and I know we have a equity model within our company to build products for companies. I mean, I won't go deep into that, but pretty much moved from a sales to management role to entrepreneurship, and right now it's entrepreneurship, investment, and mentoring students, and being part of SoCal, another great network to be part of.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's been the journey of 31 years. Yeah.
Awesome. So, I mean, right off the bat, that's so interesting. Going from tech and working back-end IT coding all the way to sales, and you're not behind the screen. You're meeting so many people. So,
Right.
what was the most difficult part of that transition for you?
I didn't know much about. As I said, I did coding for probably few months, so it's
Hmm.
not that I spent a lot of years doing that. But I knew that I was good in talking to people, but I was a very introvert and a shy person. I mean, I'm still, believe me, I'm not. It takes
Doesn't
me a
seem
bit
like
of.
it.
It doesn't seem like that's what people say, but it takes me 30 seconds or so before I enter a room or before I start talking to tell myself, oh shoot, I'm going to meet people. But then once I am in front of people, it's like a performer on the stage. I just goes on a flow. So yeah, the transition was not big, but the transition within the sales domain, because I've sold products and services in multiple countries, multiple states within India, and then Singapore, Dubai, UK, and then US. So those transitions were a lot of cultural difference and different services. And then I moved from sales to sales managing people, but still I was front ending
Yeah.
major accounts and key accounts as it's called, and then transitioning from sales to business, because business is not only sales. You basically are running a business. So that was a transition also, I would say. That was a bigger transition
Oh, then tech to sales.
than a coding to a sales. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So, you mentioned kind of being a young person, being malleable and, malleable in the sense that someone older than you guides you and you're willing to explore, and that's what
right,
caused you to shift from tech to sales.
right,
So, what advice do you have for someone young like me, someone in Gen Z, who's exploring different industries and trying to choose, one clear path?
right. So that's something which is so personal from person to person, but I'll be very generic in terms of what I say. For example, why I say it's personal to person. Somebody who's pursuing medical field is going to become a doctor. So there is no
Yeah,
question of mostly, right? Or they take
yeah.
some other services, but pretty much going to stick within the healthcare industry. So it depends upon what that person has chosen as a vocation, as a college major. A lot of times that leads that person. Like I've been in the tech industry because I did my education as an engineer, right?
Hmm.
Most of the times, not all of the times, that's how the direction goes, right? But then what's more important is to talk to more people and to understand what are the different things that happens in the world. I wouldn't even put it up as an industry at your age. I will just put it up as a task, as a work. Okay, what
Hmm.
does this person wakes up in the morning and does? Okay, runs a restaurant. Okay, is a CPA. Okay, so what does a CPA mean? Is an attorney. What does that mean, right?
Yeah,
Goes to office and is an accountant. What does that even mean? So try to, I would say for the youngsters, try to understand as many roles that people play once they wake up in the morning. And then, if you are somebody who is always trying to explore and learn from people and understand what they do every day, what happens is you start developing a certain interest. Oh, I want to be that person. I want to do
hmm,
that when I wake up in the morning. I'll
yeah,
give you an example of my son. I mean, from a very early age, he said, I'm not going to go to office and work for somebody. I'm going to start something of my own. Where did he get that from? I don't know. But then those are the things we have to listen to ourselves. So somewhere, as much as guidance you take from experienced people, your peers, younger than you, older than you, whomever are you taking experiences and sharing and talking, you have to keep asking yourself, and the best time to do that is end of the day. So before you sleep, I always say do an introspection. Okay, whom all did I talk to? What all did I gain? What did I YouTube videos did I watch? What did I gather from them? If I wake up tomorrow morning, what do I want to be? And what do I want to do? I mean, not even be, what do I want to do? What do I want to, where do I want to go and do the work, right?
yeah.
So those kind of questions you do self introspect and try to choose that. That's number one. I'll just sum it up in another few seconds. The other thing is be very open to and flexible to make a change and not be very rigid that I chose this industry or this line to do. Now I'm not going to move from this. No, you can change careers, you can change industries at any point of time, at any time if you want to, and if you learn the skills to do that. So go in a path with whatever information and guidance you have, and be flexible enough to change. That's what I would say for young people and also people my age. I mean, there's always you change every day and learn every day. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
So, it. honestly, it seems to me like you have a very practical way of handling these big emotional decisions, because it's not easy when you're thinking about life choices and gearing from one sector to another. What you're going to do with your life, how you're going to raise your family, and how you're going to provide for your family. And so, aside from just shifting career paths, what is your way, whether practical or not, on how you personally approach, big career decisions? And how can you abstract that to younger people about how they can balance, their career choices, or balance their personal ambition, their personal desires, with a sense of practicality?
I would start with, I mean, that's not one thing, there's multiple things. So the first thing I would say is, as I said, try to visualize a particular job or a particular career option as much as you know, and think yourself, place yourself in that particular spot. As I said, that you are an attorney, then place yourself in a law office and learn from people. What are you going to do as an attorney? If you're a restaurant owner, what are you going to do standing in that restaurant? And
Hmm.
see if that really excites you. See if it's something. Sometimes you get that inner voice saying, yeah, that sounds exciting. Or even I've seen kids saying, oh, I love to work in a glass building which is 20-story. I mean, without even anything else, in a downtown or a midtown in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing wrong in it. So visualize yourself, am I going to enjoy it? So the number one is trying to visualize yourself in that particular role or that particular place and see if it excites. That's a very, very basic thing and a very vague thing to do. Then
Hmm.
the next thing is to talk to people in that particular industry. Or if you have three or four options, try to find people. I can tell you that there are many, many people who are willing to give their time and expertise. If you ask, there's hardly anybody who's going to say no.
Yeah.
So try to talk to people, ask them what they do in their role. What did they do in their role? Like for me, if somebody says, what did you do in sales 30 years back and what are you doing in sales today? There's a whole lot of difference, even though it's tech sales, right?
Yeah.
So ask their experience when they were younger, ask their experience today in that field that you're trying to explore, and have two, three options if you have. Look at that. So first is enjoyment. Visualize yourself. Are you going to like it? Does it excite you? Learn about that particular industry, and then do you have the skills to even go in that industry, to even explore that industry? What do I need to learn? What do I need to read? What do I need to do? Any certification that I have to do? Learn that, do that, and try to get those aspects, right? And then
Hmm.
where is the opportunity? The city that you live in, the state that you live in, does it even have those opportunities, right? I want to be in the industry, say insurance industry, but if there's no insurance company in your city, what's the
Yeah.
point? then
You have to
then you have to
move.
you have to go to, so research about that. does do I want to live here? Do I like to live here? If I like to live here, does that have the opportunities that I want to pursue? If not, is it practical for me to go? Is family dependent upon me here? All of those aspects. So the
Hmm.
practicality aspect, I mean, because of my age and experience, I may come across more practical. But then the practical aspect, I would say, I usually keep it at the last. The first thing I start from, does this excite me? Am I going to be happy in it? And then do I have the skills? Do I know what this means? And then go to the what location that is the best place for me to do this,
Hmm.
and then is it even practical for me to pursue this at this point of time? That's how I look at it, the
Yeah.
whole thing. Yeah.
And you know what? That's two things I have to say about that. One is it's awesome, seeing a balance, because, excuse me, usually it's either processed as either or, either you're an emotional person, you're a practical person, emotional
Right.
thinking, practical thinking. It's never that they can be together. So
Sure.
that's a new point of view. And another thing I thought was really interesting is, that's kind of a thinking I use since I just graduated high school and I chose to attend UC Davis this fall. That was kind of something that guided my decision was, what are the opportunities like after I graduate in 4 years? What are the internship opportunities like while I'm in college? What kind of an area am I going to? So, like, a big thing for me was I didn't want to leave the state. I liked California too much. I liked our weather too much. And so I never realized, how much of that I was doing internally until you just mentioned it. So that's pretty
Mm.
cool.
Nice.
And so I also want to ask you then, you know, you mentioned how coming from a young age in India and all of these elders are telling you all of these things. That's just because the community is so tight knit. But living in a Western society, we don't see that as often. So, as a Gen Zer from the West, as a younger person, how do I find a mentor? How do we find mentors if we don't have such a strong network built up already?
There are a lot of number one, you have to find a mentor.
Yeah.
The best player, the best artist has a coach, right? Until you become the best, definitely you need a coach. And even if you become the best, you need a coach. I mean, I
You need
have
a coach.
mentors even at this particular time of my career.
Yeah.
So you have to have mentor, and I would say you have to have mentors, because
Mhm.
not one mentor can actually shape you up or give you guidance in all aspects of what you want to do. And then it's always good to take different opinions from different people. So always good to have mentors. Now to your question, how do I find mentors? Attend as many events as possible. There, if you go to Meetup or any of those, you will see some or the other events happening almost every day, especially in a town like where we live in SoCal. So go to any tech events, go to any business events, go to any happy hours or any of those that you have to go. And then, of course, I mean, we're all involved in Thai SoCal, so definitely that's one place that you can come. It's all people who are willing to mentor. So it's good to go to events, show up there, talk to people, and then try to gauge, select your mentor. The most important thing is people think, oh, this person is much more experienced than me, so this person has to be good for me. No, have a couple of conversations. Instead of they choosing you as a mentee, only you need to choose them as a mentor
Them as a
too,
mentor.
because the
Mhm.
whole mindset and the experience and the emotional quotient and the all of the aspects has to match with that person,
Yeah.
right? So have multiple mentors. Sometimes the first mentor may not be the right mentor for you. Sometimes that person stays with you. And in different 5 years from now, you'll need a different mentor, exactly like a sports person or an artist who needs coach at different times.
Yeah.
In career and in business, we need the same. And many youngsters make a mistake of not having that. Once they're out of school, once they're out of in touch of their teacher or the counselor and the college, they stop
Mhm.
having any mentors, and they just go by what their friends say or what LinkedIn says on things like that. Always at any point of time, you need to have at least two mentors whom you can just reach out and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think about? And the mentor has to be a person who doesn't take things personally. Like if I'm your mentor and guide you something and you don't follow that and you do something else, I shouldn't take it personally, because
Yeah.
I, as a mentor, the mentor just gives a framework of what they think, but ultimately you are the player who's going to play on field, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, to how to find it, go to networks, go to people, get connections through parents, siblings, teachers, like mentors like me. We are involved in almost, I'm involved in at least 7 schools in the SoCal region. So
Wow.
when you go to a counselor in one of those schools, they probably will send them to me, right? So I'm
Mhm.
mentoring students in UCI, in Cal State Long Beach, in Pepperdine. So go to the school and say, I need to connect with a mentor, and they have connections to a lot of entrepreneurs or even senior folks in companies, and they'll connect to you. But you got to make the effort. And LinkedIn is another place. I mean, definitely, Vedansh. I mean, there are people who respond to LinkedIn. I mean, if a kid writes to me on LinkedIn, I do respond to that kid. So that's
Awesome. And
another
that's
thing. You can do a
nice.
cold LinkedIn to that person. There's
Yeah.
possibility that person may, accept you. So
Awesome. And maybe just to wrap it up, you mentioned about 10 years ago, 9 years ago, I should say, August of 2016, you started your company, Saguna Consulting, and then just a couple months later, you started Hugenex.
yeah.
So, what was difficult, or not even what was difficult, but how did you manage the difficulties and the time balance between having two brand new companies right back to back, almost like having twin children, right?
Right, right. So, I mean, the story is I started Saguna because I thought that was the low-hanging fruit for me. It's a services business. I don't need much of investment because I didn't have money, and I
Yeah.
wasn't too young. I had grown-up kids. I was 45, 44 that time. So you basically have to look at the practicality, as we spoke of, what where are you and who's dependent upon you. So I wanted something whereby I don't need much investments, I don't need any product development life cycle before I launched the company. So I got into services and started picking up my first client within, I think, 30 to 45 days of starting the business. Now,
Wow.
this product idea was lingering on me for a while, but I waited till I could have some money to invest into that
Funding.
product. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I didn't take external funding. I just self-funded the product company. Now, I didn't think of doing that as a separate company. I thought I would have a product within the existing company. But I just
Mhm.
felt, and I spoke to a few people, we realized that having a company for that product gives us more value. Instead of saying we also have a lab information system for cancer diagnostic testing, saying that's that company, it gives more weightage and value for that company. So that was the rationale behind opening up a separate company. But then it was a product idea that get developed. But by the time it actually we really got our first client, it took a year or so in that because you need product development there. And then Saguna was anyway generating revenues from the services side. These are not really something somebody can strategize. You just go with the flow. You have a
Mhm.
vague idea, this is what I'm going to do, right? It's like you start driving from here to San Francisco. You have an idea, I'm going to stop here, eat here, but then so many things change
Change along
while
the way.
while
Yeah.
you're driving on the way. It's exactly like that. You do a little bit of here and there, you kind of take detours, but yeah, but it was not a strategy to start two companies when I started the first company.
Oh, it just something that came along.
That came along and it made more sense to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So then, if I had to make up some key takeaways from our conversation today, it would be one, blend your emotional and practical thinking, follow what your inner gut is telling you, but approach that with a logical sense also. Two would be, go with the flow, don't have a roadmap and stick to it because, the road oftentimes changes. And three, always make sure you're in touch with someone who is willing to teach you, willing to coach you, willing to help you grow.
Absolutely. You got it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you know what? With that being said, that is another episode of the Ambition Circuit. I thank you, Mr. Sankaran, for joining us today. It was truly an amazing conversation. Really enjoyed it. So
My
thanks.
pleasure with us. Good luck with everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.